Focus groups about people's perceptions of Limerick City. We want to find out how people perceive Limerick on crime, sport and entertainment. Would you consider Limerick a dangerous place?
The problem was there was a European survey in the late 90s or early 2000 about murder rates around Europe, and the problem was it was per head of population. So by head of population, Limerick was the most dangerous place in Europe. It was more dangerous than London or in fact anywhere else in Europe. So that kind of that made big headlines, and kind of went from there. Then most of it was knife crime, so that's where the Stamp City thing kind of came out. There's very little kind of like casual crime in Limerick. Well, there's just as much as anywhere else, but unless you're selling heroin, you're not going to get yourself killed, Like there's no, it's not like this like South Africa where you got like carjacking, where you wouldn't even stop at traffic lights because you'd get stabbed.
How do you think the media portrays Limerick City?
Bit of an old negative gloss on the place. It doesn't come across great. Like the only time they'd ever been in news is because someone's been killed or they found a body or how bad the housing situation is. Or
you kind of get more friends though if you go away and you tell them where you're from and then they go at you like, Stamps City.
What do you think could be done to reverse the image of make the image positive? Is that could be done like?
Those rubber bandits are kind of taking the piss out of it all. So like in a sort of roundabout way, they'll kind of make things better. And it does. It's good. It's good press. And it's done in a satirical way.
Is there anything you think that could be done to lower the crime?
Like all these street gangsters and everything, just training and education. They have to allocate a place where these guys will be going for studying. Training them for the future. Like the youngsters, they have to grow. If you don't train them now, if they don't have any profession when they grow, what do you think they will be? They will be on the street shooting and doing what they do. They know best.
There's a lot of youth initiatives. Like there's a summer camp in LIT that runs for the whole of June, and they have youth groups from around Limerick. They come here and like they do like DJing classes and like learning how to use Photoshop and stuff like that. Like they're trying to get kids interested in IT and computers at a young age, and you can see they're kind of like they were getting into it, and then they go off the coast to go surfing and stuff. But it's all positive stuff.
Generally speaking, yes. This originated back in the late 1970s when there was a couple of very high-profile murders in Limerick, and some of the Dublin media tended to give the city to assume that the city had acquired a certain reputation, and they've stuck to that more or less since. It's a very lazy form of journalism. There's an awful lot of very, very good things happening in Limerick. We don't find it reported in the Dublin media, but any outrages or any gang incidents or any fairly high-profile, serious crime that happens here, the Dublin media are literally on our doorstep, writing articles about the place, and not only highlighting the events surrounding the crime itself, but doing analysis in the city as a whole. No, we found that you know, I find myself in my own canvassing and from my knowledge of the communities and people in the area, they're not full of gangsters. They're not it's not gangland by any means. There's a small number of families in a number of areas in Limerick, including some of those areas you mentioned, that have gangs built around them, but they're not representative of the ordinary communities in these places. I mean, I could live, I'd say, in Prospect or Ballinacurra Weston or other places in town for many years without actually ever encountering one of those people face to face. So it's a gross exaggeration. I mean, the fact is that those people have tentacles everywhere. I mean, they can have relatives in other parts of town as well, which don't come in for such a ready mention. No, of course it isn't. As I say, it arose from a number of high-profile killings here. I think two in the late 1970s. Unfortunately, one of our homegrown people who was a comedian or playwright cum comedian, he attached that sobriquet to the city, his own city, very unfairly, I think, because it stuck. And it certainly doesn't. If you look at the cold statistics for wounding, knife crime, etc., Limerick is no worse, and in some respects better than other urban areas in Ireland. Well, strangely enough, there doesn't seem to be a rise in crime at the recession. In fact, you know, over the past 2 or 3 years, the figures seem to have fallen, and I think that is because there has been extra guard resources poured into Limerick as a result of the gangland activities about five years ago during the height of the Celtic Tiger. So, paradoxically, the upsurge in gang crime, organised crime, during the Celtic Tiger has led to a situation now where ordinary crime is being kept in check. Well, I have to declare an interest here because I'm the person who pushed that through the cabinet, and it is having an effect. It's much slower than we thought. You know, so far the physical side of it seems to consist of just knocking houses. Now I'm very glad that plans are being sent out now, and that actually building houses will take place very shortly. I think the first tranche of houses is to start within the next 6 to 8 weeks. Quite a number of houses have been knocked, which of course is also necessary. But side by side with the physical aspect of this, there's been huge social investment in those areas, on the education side, on the environment side, on the social services side. There's been huge investment in there under the umbrella of Regeneration. Now, the previous government made a commitment to a certain amount of funding for Regeneration between now and 2014. I'm hoping that the new government will stick to that. If they do, I think the heavy lifting has been done more or less, and I think they'll see results very readily and very, very obviously from here on in. Oh, very much positive. I mean, the I Love Limerick group, I've met them at various functions, and they go around, they cover these events, and they give people a sense of importance, a sense of dignity. I mean, the fact that there's people there with cameras sort of recording what they're doing and that they have that interest. The Rubber Bandits have been a breath of fresh air for Limerick, really. I mean, you know, there have been certain criticisms of the Rubber Bandits, but the fact of the matter is that, you know, you go all over the country and the Rubber Bandits are famous. And, you know, we're, as a city, I think we're reflecting, we're basking in the glory which the Rubber Bandits have brought.
Now, a few weeks ago, 2 upstanding young citizens from Limerick contacted us. They felt that their hometown had got a raw deal from the media, and they wanted the opportunity to show the real Limerick City. So here, with that report, are the Rubber Bandits.
That's Limerick City! That's Limerick City! That's Limerick City! That's Limerick City!
As late as last week, actually in Dáil a certain gentleman came up to me, and he asked me how are the Rubber Bandits doing down in Limerick, and that was Jerry Adams, who was leader of Sinn Féin. So I mean to say that their fame is extended not just to the 26 counties, but it's right up into Belfast. Absolutely. I mean, I know loads of people in this city who've moved down from Dublin generally, or maybe up from Cork, or certainly from other parts of the country over the years. They did so with a great sense of trepidation because of this unfair reputation which the city has acquired. None of those people that I know now would voluntarily move out of Limerick. It's been a revelation to them. As far as the tourist side of it is concerned, we have many, many things to see here. It's a beautiful city surrounded by beautiful countryside. There are many sites of historic and other importance. I don't think we've sold ourselves sufficiently well from the tourism point of view, despite the fact that there has been for a number of years a dedicated tourism budget in Shannon Development. I don't think the thing has been spent properly. I don't think it has been, for whatever reason, it hasn't worked to its full potential. So I would very much recommend Limerick to come and see or to live in.